Hello, Steve, and welcome everybody. Thanks for having me at this show here. And I'm going to shortly introduce myself. I'm Oliver Lietz, co-founder and CEO of Nanocosmos from Berlin, Germany. I'm working in the video industry for over 25 years now, and we built up a live streaming platform for interactive use cases with a lot of focus on the iGaming industry, which is operating very stable for the last 10 years. So going back a long road for video business and broadcast and streaming. And yeah, I'm excited to be in this interview with you.
Oliver, it's great to join you. Nanocosmos is one of our client partners at SCCG Management. And while we've had hundreds over our 35-year history, there are very few that stand out as exemplary as Nanocosmos. You're a leader in the live streaming business. You have been delivering for decades an amazing solution to a growing part of the ecosystem. What we want to try to do today, Oliver, is go through some of the features, some of the attributes of your platform to talk about how Nanocosmos does what it does in terms of delivering the main infrastructure for live streaming in the iGaming industry. Oliver, when I think about Nanocosmos, I think about obviously the use cases in live dealer, and I also think about the fact that the importance of having streaming that produces engagement, monetization, and interactivity. But let's take each of them. Let's first start with, Oliver, what you see as the main use cases for the Nanocosmos platform and technology. And then let's talk about some of the attributes, some of the issues you solve in the ecosystem of iGaming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so a great example and a great use case for an industry we are both working on is the live dealer scenario, where we have a live casino situation. A dealer sitting on a table, a real person, can be a studio or can be a land-based casino. And platform providers or operators or casinos are coming to us, which want to include this dealer situation into a global live streaming scenario. So they want to set up a camera, send this camera feed to the global audience, need to rely on operating that on any scale, on any device, anywhere in the world. And they're asking us, how can we do that? So, and that's how things get started. And they just try out our platform. It's a self-service platform, basically, but we provide also additional help, like support to get started and get our feedback together to see how that can be combined together from sending a live stream and then create this experience for their customers. And then this video feed, which is provided on our system, is then embedded into a business application, into a gaming application, where certain elements are added then for bidding and betting around specific gaming environments.
So when we talk about a live dealer, obviously, and then we mention engagement and monetization opportunities and interactivity. Tell us a little bit more about how those use cases play out once we've established the stream.
So the live dealer situation is always interactive, right? So you have the dealer, you have the players who are playing with the dealer, a card game, poker game, roulette, whatever. And this interactive use case needs to be as immersive in real time as possible. So you want to be part of that experience. You want to be interacting with a real person. And as you are sitting on a dealer table, also be part of that. And that's an exciting use case where you can drive as a vendor, as a gaming provider, drive further revenue to your platform, can create more user engagement for the players on your platform, going away maybe from slot machine gambling situations more to a real life situation where you really create a personalized user experience. And that creates the interactive experience that drives revenue, drives engagement, audience engagement on a global scale.
And Oliver, when we think about obviously live casino or live dealer, but why don't you discuss a little bit about how Nanocosmos could be applied in the sports betting or sports streaming context?
Yeah, so compared to the live dealer situation, which is automatically interactive and you always have these kind of micro betting elements, you're taking in bids all the time over the game. In sports betting, it's a bit different because you have this kind of betting on the results, but you can then add further betting elements also during the game. So whatever goal is scored or whatever player is doing during the game, that's all kind of new opportunities to create interactive elements on that based on betting situations. And that's what also our customers are implementing, either based on live content or on pre-existing content. So let me give you one example. The company Highlight Games, they are creating live streams based out of existing content, premium sports content for football, soccer. So they create new game experiences where you can bid on kind of new results from existing content, which is kind of exciting because you see these celebrities playing and can create new games around that. So you can, on the one hand, reuse existing content, monetize it again, and create this micro betting idea around that because the difference and the distances between these betting elements are very short, and which continuously drives the revenue potentially for your application.
And obviously casino, obviously sports, but one of the applications that we've even explored together and at the various trade shows that I've attended, and being part of your booth, Oliver, increasingly influencers, social media has become more and more important to creating that kind of individual experience with the customer, creating a connection with the customer, trying to enhance engagement, to make sure that you're retaining a customer using people that they feel comfortable with in the influencer world. How does nanocosmos streaming technology apply? uh, what are the use cases around leveraging social media and influencers?
That's an exciting use case, I find, because it creates a new type of application around these influencer-based live streams. And it's a bit similar to computer-based YouTube, Twitch style of things, where a lot of people just watch a game and not necessarily be part of that game, but they watch the celebrity or influencer playing a game successfully. And when you combine this in the gaming environment, the gambling environment, you then can additionally monetize the revenue because you, on the one hand, get the audience together based on this influencer, and then potentially everybody wants to also be part of that successful gaming experience. So they want to learn from this person and then directly also be part of that and try it out themselves. So that drives audience, but it also drives revenue on the second level then to first build up the community and then create successful audience engagement around that.
One of the use cases that we pursued together in our work in the United States is around some of the initiatives, like recently BetMGM's initiative with Game Show, getting game show rights and creating live game shows that can be streamed alongside their live casino. Can you talk a little bit about the evolution of that use case and how nanocosmos factors into that?
Yeah, that's also quite exciting because it combines the kind of traditional broadcast style of applications where you are in a lean back scenario watching something, and compared to the lean forward scenario where you interact with something. That's a mix and match of these things. So these entertainment-based events, which create a lot of audience and engagement in the first place. So you create a great growing audience, and then this audience can be used to monetize the stream again. It's a bit similar to this influencer idea, but more on a higher level. And we learned that back in the broadcast industry as well. Then things like video quality, high resolution, things like that, great user experience, great production setup are also important around that. And that's something which we also can enable because we know what video is, what digital video is, and can create the highest possible quality for a live stream for the kind of dealership environments, but also for these broadcast style event-based environments.
I know when I've seen people come to interact with you, as many people come to meet with you to learn about nanocosmos are as many use cases as you might uncover. And at the end of the day, you're using technology to solve problems. So are there some use cases I haven't touched upon? We've touched upon, of course, the live dealer, and we've touched upon, and that could include live slots as well. We've touched upon sports, and we've touched upon influencers and social media. We've touched upon game shows. But are there some other use cases that you're seeing pop up more and more in interacting with potential customers or existing customers?
What I find very interesting is this combination of different things going far beyond the kind of dealer-based applications. So create events which you really want to watch, separate, independent if you want to be part of that gambling environment or not. You have interesting presenters, you have an exciting show to watch, and then you can create more audience awareness around that and create gamified elements around that. And that's coming from two angles. So on the one hand, it's coming from the gaming industry, but it's also coming from the broadcast industry, who also tries to find new business models for their entertainment content, sports content, whatever, to gamify their content and add interactive elements to that. And that's very exciting to see. So there's a lot of creativity available in this industry and a lot of room for driving innovations here.
I talk about it at SCCG as the convergence between entertainment, sports, gambling. And so basically you're bringing these different content elements together in an environment. And I guess the way I would say it is nanocosmos is the plumbing, is the infrastructure that brings those content areas together into an experience that can interact with a particular customer. This is how I like to think about it when I'm talking to potential customers and new prospects for nanocosmos.
Exactly. And key is if you have an infrastructure, you rely on that is 100% available all the time, right? So you want to just use it and make sure it's working and focus on your own business. So that's what we try also to solve and to provide to our partners, that we provide a 100% stable system, which is operating 24/7. And this infrastructure part is just there, and you can create a lot of applications around that. You can use that. You can use the live video transport to provide the highest quality video for your end users. We adjust the quality based on network situations automatically. We have the player running in the browsers, and that's what the infrastructure needs to provide to have reliability, robust application environments, availability, but also for the highest possible quality and quality of experience.
You mentioned a word, but I want you to talk a little bit more about it. You mentioned the word gamification. Obviously, as we think about everything from CRM to customer retention to customer acquisition, even we more and more rely on the notion of gamification elements, creating a certain excitement. Tell me how nanocosmos and its streaming capabilities and infrastructure come into the use case around enhancing gamification.
Yeah, that's interesting because, of course, a gambling situation is already a game, but this
Yes.
gamification can be added to any other kind of content. So it can be added to sports, but even in corporate content, it's interesting because corporations also want to engage their audiences. No one wants to watch a boring company presentation anymore. So that's things where gamification makes a lot of sense to increase also the audience engagement, to create awareness in the stream, quiz things to the element to this video feed, etc., and maybe even adding things you can win there. So it's then a great combination of this kind of very serious content creation and fun elements which are based on this gamified ideas.
Maybe, Oliver, if you could walk us through, let's take each of them in turn, and you can talk a little bit about what's unique about nanocosmos in achieving these elements. Let's start with low latency.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as I said, interactivity can only be accomplished if the delay is very low, so it's real time, and that's based on low latency live streaming. So it needs to be sub-second, around 1 second on a global scale between the source, the presenter, and the audience to really be able to interact in that. And this latency needs to remain so low. So in any given situation, like the bandwidth goes down, you are in a bad mobile network situation, commuting or whatever, you need to have a reliable low latency situation. And that means that the quality might go down of the video because the bandwidth is just not there. But that's key, that you need to have a successful content delivery to the device, even if it's under very bad conditions, but you need to be part of that experience, and that's based on this low latency experience. And that's combined with the other things.
So stability, is there anything additional you want to say about that, stability?
Yeah, of course, it's not only the stream itself, it's also the reliability around the clock. Any server which may go down is automatically replaced in an automated failover system and scenario. Anywhere in the world, you need to have the right accessibility. That was one of the next questions, that it's by the over provisioning we have based on our infrastructure, we have both stability and accessibility reached at the same time. And that means that it's really 100% stable. So we didn't have any downtime for the last year or so. Very reliable, zero downtime, 100% stability. And that's based on this system, which of course is expected. So you would usually expect that when you use a system in the internet, it always works. And that's what we ensure.
I remember a situation in the early days of sports betting in America where we had some of the early platforms go down during the Super Bowl, which is the single biggest betting day. And obviously, it takes a lot to then get the confidence back of the customer when they experience a situation where there isn't that 24/7, 365 uptime, that stability. And when we talk about responsiveness, what does that mean to you in terms of your technology responsiveness?
So it needs to be lightweight somehow. You in a gaming situation, you have different elements like gaming, betting things. You have maybe graphical overlays. You might have CG generated environments that could be a quite heavy loaded application. And then on top of that, you have the live video. So it's a kind of heavy application which is running on any device. It needs to run on any device, but it needs to stay responsive. And that's based on the lightweight video approach, at least what we can do on our end. We can take care that there's not much overhead taken on resources on the devices, and the whole system stays lightweight and responsive for any use case.
And when we talk about, I grouped three items, and they're significant items in and of themselves, but I grouped security, compliance, scalability into one. Talk a little bit about those elements in your technology.
Security is going to be more and more important because on this global scale we are working on, there can happen all kinds of bad things. You get attacks. Our customers are getting attacked. They're kind of getting attacked for misuse, but also to possibly turning systems down. So there are all possible threats which are in the internet, and the more you grow, and as also as a customer, and we are growing, the more you're vulnerable to certain things. So we're taking very much care about that. On the one hand, to enable our customers to detect potential misuse against security breaches and turn attackers down, but also for us and our team to make that possible and to avoid any possible hijacking or security breach.
And as far as compliance, is that go hand in hand with security, or are there some additional considerations with respect to compliance?
Compliance has several aspects, like there's these legal compliant things like Germany, Europe, GDPR compliant things. You also have that in the US and certain states. And that very much depends on customer requirements, but in the end, it's also all means being compliant, also have more transparency in the system, understand what's going on, know what potential security risks could be in the system, etc. So that goes hand in hand somehow.
Oliver, when we think about the future and your roadmap, I know obviously companies are protective over their kind of future roadmaps, but maybe we can talk a little bit about, for example, AI and how the use of AI comes into play for a product suite that like what nanocosmos offers. Maybe you could give us a little visibility on that.
Yeah. So we also started working on AI-based tools a while ago already. We are using that currently as a support tool for getting automated subtitles from the stream. So you can also read what things are spoken. That's not only used in the gaming industry, but also used in the corporate space, enterprise space. So have multilingual transcripts available for medical trainings or corporate meetings, etc. And that's not only the transcription, that's also translation, which is more and more possible in an automated way by artificial intelligence systems. And that's what we also added to our systems. And we are also considering adding other things which are video-based AI tools to these systems. So we are very closely watching these things, as we are always trying to embrace new innovations and bring them to our product portfolio if they make sense as a business case for our clients.
I know one of the things, because I've witnessed it firsthand, is your special relationship with your customers. Maybe you can talk a little bit about your corporate culture and how it prioritizes customer service and how you implement that as a company with because you have so many clients around the globe.
Sure. So we're trying to be as transparent as possible. As I said initially, it's easy to try our product. There's no hidden secrets available. You can just use it. And we're also trying to increase this transparency while using the product by giving insight really into the system. So we created also a metrics and analytics platform, which gives you really insight on where things are going, which potential regions are maybe working better than other regions, etc., potential device impact, etc., also potential things which might happen in the system. So this transparency is very important for having this kind of open and honest, transparent company culture. And that's how we work with our clients, but how we work also with the team. And we're very proud to have created this kind of culture around our company to have it mutually successful, both in this kind of soft skill things, transparent company with our clients, very honest, reliable relationships, personal attention, etc., and creating a successful business around that. It's really fun, and we're growing and having fun in what we do. And I think that's important to do also, and to have that in line with all activities.
Well, it's good. I know how good your technology is. I've seen the testimonials firsthand from your customers. But as good as it is, I would say your people, your soft skills, your people skills, your customer relations are even superior to that, which says a lot about a technology company that can master the soft skills as well. You and I are both going to be in Sao Paulo. I just was in Rio. Obviously, Brazil is an exciting new market, one that we both have embraced as professionals. Talk a little bit about what you're seeing so far in Brazil and what you see as the opportunity for that emerging market.
Yeah, it's, as you say, an emerging market, but it's growing and it has picked up very quickly for us. The whole South American region is very interesting. It's a growing industry, and there are coming a lot of new creative ideas also from the local business there to create new kinds of applications. Also, our existing customers are going there. Companies like LiveG24, which is a European company, which is also strongly growing in Brazil with our help and creating high quality video streams for multi-angle live dealer situations, etc. So it's a great opportunity, I think, also for everybody working in this industry, also to work with these new markets growing. And I'm also very excited to be there. So it's going to be the first time I'll be there, and I'm very much looking forward to being there and meeting everybody who's working in the industry there.
It will knock your socks off, Oliver. Last year I think there was, and it's not an underestimate. I think it was maybe 35,000 delegates to that convention. So it's going to
Wow.
really be amazing this year. Obviously, Africa as a market, maybe you can speak a little bit about some of the unique things that you're finding in that market. It's a 57 countries. It's diverse. You have very established markets and regulated markets like South Africa, and then you have emerging markets that recently I've been in Tanzania, I've been in Congo, Uganda, Nigeria, of course, Kenya, and so forth and so on. Talk a little bit about the African continent and your vision there.
Yeah, it's also very interesting for us. It's interesting to see different countries coming from there, also asking questions. And it's similar to other things when they get started. They just want to try out things, gain some experience, understand how it's going on, understand the business models behind that, but also start small and then grow from there. And this kind of pay-as-you-go thing also for us is important to enable this reliable platform also in this market. We established several points of presence also in Africa, which is of course important to create the availability there and in the local environments. Also based on these similar approaches I mentioned: transparency, honest relationship, building up things step by step, and just learning as we are growing together. And that makes a lot of sense also for these
Well,
parts
we're
of
going
the
to
world.
we're going to headline a new conference by IGC in Marrakesh, Morocco, this summer. So I'm looking forward to that and visiting the continent, at least the upper tip of the continent. But in any event, let me throw one other at you because I've been thinking about it a lot lately. The Middle East, is that on your radar in any way? And what vision do you have there as you think about the industry?
It's absolutely on our radar, and we have some important clients there already. And it's an interesting hub also for on a global scale. It's a great business center, which drives a lot of business for the eastern part of the world, the western part of the world, northern, southern hemisphere. So it's very interesting, and we're going to be there as well soon to also increase our presence there.
Great. And of course, I know as a European-based company, you've felt very comfortable on the European continent. But let me just mention Asia. It's a place that has lots of activity and is important for many reasons in the gambling industry. But tell me about what your relationship has been in Asia and what you look forward to in the future there.
So Asia has always been a very important market for us. To be honest, as a German company, we don't have so many customers in Germany itself. It's more like in Central Asia, East Asia, where gaming operators are working and operating, and also driving a lot of traffic through the just amount of people who are living there. So it's similar to South America, also has grown from an interesting growing market now to a very important part of our business. And also the coverage there is sometimes challenging because you have these central locations like Singapore, etc. But sometimes you need to operate from different countries and also create new points of presence there, depending on where you are. Sometimes need to check things like regulations and compliance as well. So that's very interesting, and it's a very, interesting market as well for us.
You know, the way I look at it, obviously, you have a long history. You've built up an incredible organization. You're global. You have a focus in owning the live streaming technology business in the iGaming industry. So your focus has been incredible. You have a vision for the future. Um, as we think about the challenges ahead for our industry, obviously we've talked quite a bit about new markets, expanding markets. But what do you see as the biggest challenges as you look ahead, both as a company and as an industry? And what do you see as the biggest opportunities looking ahead?
So the challenge is, of course, as in other things as well, to try to avoid to come into a standstill for certain types of applications, which then just keep you going as is. So we always need to keep innovating, and we see a lot of innovation growing in this industry. And we also do that on the technology level. So we are going step by step as well, in line with new devices, new protocols, new operating systems are coming up with higher performance on the device, etc. So we are going to introduce also new streaming protocol soon, which is called MOQ, which even further improves the reliability in certain networks, especially in bad network situations. And based on these technology innovations, also the innovations for the industry is both an opportunity and a challenge, because there's a lot of room for innovation there. It can be very creative and create a lot of exciting applications around that. So I just encourage everybody to pick up these challenges and create successful business around live video in the gaming industry.
One of the questions I always like to ask as I'm kind of coming to an end of a webinar or discussion, is there a question that I didn't ask that you feel is relevant to discussing nanocosmos? Is there something you wanted to say about your product, your company, your opportunities, your future that we didn't touch upon?
I think we touched a lot of interesting points, maybe just some background about features and functions we also see in the industry. So there are interesting activities like live rewind, live replay in the live stream, where you can go directly back from a live situation, rewind, take out a clip, share that clip with either your community or internally in the marketing department to further make use of that. So that's all things we always add to the platform, to our product portfolio. And as I said, we are continue checking and driving innovations as well. And it's going to be an exciting year, 2025 as well, for bringing out new features and functions. So everybody can watch out for new things coming up and get in touch with us to try this out.
Oliver, you've been amazing to share your booth with me. It's a great experience for me because you not only the camaraderie of your team, but your interaction with your customers, and hopefully you've enjoyed meeting some of our relationships as we've been at shows together. I hope we'll do it again in São Paulo. That's coming up April 7th through 10th. So I look forward to joining you and Chris and the team for São Paulo, Brazil, and I look forward to continued success this coming year. Again, as I said at the beginning, we've worked with hundreds of companies. We describe them as best in class at what they do. But I think even amongst that group, you stand out as a company that's just been hyper focused in really delivering the best product you can to address an extremely important part of the ecosystem, live streaming and the applications that come out of it. And as we move into an increasing digital age, dominated by influencers and impressions, I think the ability to have a 360-degree solution that is stable and interactive and scalable and best in class, as we said, is really, it's amazing to be associated with it. So thank you for the opportunity to be part of your world, and look forward to your continued success.
Thank you very much for your kind words, and it's mutual. It's a great pleasure to work with you as well, with such a great experience in the industry. So it's from different angles. So we combine our expertise together, and it's really amazing and a great adventure working together.
Yeah, thank you, Oliver. See you in, I would say it in my Portuguese is still under review, but I'll see you in São Paulo, and thank you for the time together to talk about nanocosmos.
Thank you very much, Steve.